Join us for the Fanatical Prospecting Bootcamp that will help your team 5x their pipeline in 90 days or less. We'll be hosting it on March 10th and 11th in Atlanta, Georgia. Go to salesgravy.com/live. That's salesgravy.com/live and use the code podcast to save $100.
This is Jeb Blunt, and it's Money Monday on the Sales Gravy Podcast.
Say, make money, money, make money, money, money. Make money, money, make money, money, money. Money makes the world go round. I'm the talk around town. Remy gave me the sound.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Money Monday. My name is Keith Lubner. I am the Chief Strategy Officer at Sales Gravy. I'm filling in today for Jeb Blunt. And in today's podcast, I'm going to discuss an approach that can increase your win rates by 34%. You see, a lot of salespeople tend to focus or lock into the champion in an account, the one contact who gets us, who fights for our proposal, amplifies our message, and we simply focus on that person. And we imagine this person as the singular ally, as our ticket to success. And the problem with this belief is that it's backward. Business success isn't about one relationship. It's about many relationships within an account. And there's math to this as well. Researchers at LinkedIn Sales Solutions studied thousands of enterprise deals, and they discovered something fascinating, actually. Sales teams that built relationships with multiple people inside an account were, get this, 34% more likely to win. Now, studies also reveal that on average, there are about 4 to 7 people influencing a complex buying decision. Think about that. Even if you have the perfect pitch, you're still only one voice in a conversation happening behind closed doors among a lot of other voices, each with their own fears, priorities, agendas. A singular connection can snap, is my point, whereas a web of connections will hold up. Cultivating multiple accounts fundamentally alters your credibility and influence within a potential client account. When several people inside an organization know you, they trust you, they speak well of you, they like you, your influence compounds, basically. It's no longer just about your proposal. It's about their conversation and their buy-in. A lone champion, however, can be dismissed as the person who likes that vendor. But if you have 3 champions from different areas of the company, that's called consensus. And where you have consensus, you've got to win. Now, the reality in today's corporate world is simply this. People get promoted. They get reorganized, reassigned, they leave. And in one study, roughly 20% of business decision makers switch jobs every year. So what that says is if you're putting all your eggs in one basket during the sale, you're risking losing the deal. But if you build a web of relationships, 2, 3, or 4 employees spread across different departments and levels, something different happens when one decision maker inevitably moves on. The web flexes, but it doesn't break. Top performers call this strategy inside insulation. In other words, cultivate multiple relationships to protect your account from sudden disruption. Intentionally building a web ensures that your business is grounded in stable relationships, not on the support of any single individual. But we're constantly told to find our point person within a deal. And that's not necessarily wrong, but the problem is we tailor every message, we build deep one-to-one trust, and we're going deep in understanding one person. And the issue is that it's very narrow. But in truth, influence often spreads effectively through what we call weak ties, the casual, adjacent connections that link clusters of strong relationships. This is your network of amplifiers, essentially. And in complex selling scenarios, those loose connections A brief introduction, a shared article, a helpful insight can be the difference between a deal that stalls and a deal that potentially scales. Deals from referrals close faster. We know that. It's sometimes sales law. Sometimes these deals close twice as fast as cold call deals. Accounts with multiple contacts tend to grow larger, they stay longer, and they become stickier. But it's sometimes difficult for a salesperson to live by these truths, if you will, because they want instantaneous results. But building a web of connections happens quietly, invisibly, and over time. And yet the results are dramatic, just like the effects of compound interest in your savings account slowly accumulate to great sums. The point is this: get enough internal referrals and you stop being the vendor someone works with and you become the partner everyone trusts. And there are 5 common mistakes that we typically see with people. Number 1, they simply try to do too much. They overextend by trying to establish 50 relationships as an example, and all superficially, instead of building 5 to 7 deep, meaningful connections with people. They also ask too early in the process for a referral instead of building credibility. What they also don't do is they don't follow up and nurture the relationships they've already initiated. And they don't leverage the law of reciprocity. If you don't offer value to a potential connection, they won't feel an obligation to take action on your behalf, give you the referral. You'll burn through goodwill, essentially. A strong relationship begins with you providing no strings attached value, like business insight, information, data perhaps. The other mistake they make is they wear out their welcome. There comes a time when you simply must move on if a prospect is not accepting your inquiries. If you reached out to someone multiple times with relevant insights and gotten silence, that's a signal. So how do you build your bulletproof, wide-reaching web? The answer lies not in hard selling, but in curiosity, actually. First, begin by drawing a map of the web of people connected to your account, the decision makers, the influencers, the skeptics, the quiet analyst whose opinions may shape what the decision makers think. The relationships you have, the ones you need, and the blank spaces in between. Note all of this, write it down, visualize it, strategize around it. And then start asking questions that open doors and show you recognize that the decision is bigger than just one person. For example, a question such as, who else in your team would have a point of view on this? Or would it be helpful if I shared what other departments are doing with similar tools? Or is there someone else who should see this? I like to use the question starting off with a phrase, I need your advice on this. Now, when you use that phrase, you're invoking reciprocity with the person and you're increasing the likelihood or probability that they will actually give you the referral. Next, ask for referrals to other influencers within the company. Now, when trust is formed, the direct referral becomes an act of generosity, essentially, rather than coming off as an intrusion to the person. And because it's framed around value, not obligation, people say yes far more often than you'd think. A question such as, would you be willing to introduce me to your colleague in operations? I think she'd have an interesting take on what we're talking about. Or, if anyone else on your team might benefit from this, would you mind sharing my name? Now, the probability of winning or growing an account is heavily influenced by your relationships within an organization. My question to you is, how many do you have? How strong are they? Multi-threading boosts your win rate by 34%. And what it does is it guards against churn. It opens up new opportunities and gives you referral pathways. Remember, information moves through people. And the more people who trust you, the further and faster that information actually travels. But I bet you've got accounts sitting right in your pipeline at this very moment that are on a single thread right now. One reorganization, one job change, and that deal you've been nursing for months could vanish overnight. So stop honing in on finding that one perfect contact or key decision maker. Start building a small community inside every single account. Remember, it's not a single voice that carries your deal through to success. It's the quiet course of the many that will carry you to success. My name is Keith Lubner, and I want to thank you for listening to Money Monday and the Sales Gravy podcast. Make it a great week, everyone.
Survival of the fittest, you can sink or swim. I've been broke, I ain't never going back again. I need some C-notes, some cheddar, and a stack of ends. I need a bowl of dough, I don't need no Facebook friends. I need a pack of them snaps, a handful of Fetty Wops, and rubber band on my greenbacks. Look, dawg, don't be playing with my paper. I need every red cent, that's why I brought my little scraper. Money, 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 money.